Welcome to SQL Server Administration Basics. In this video, we will be covering SQL Server Basic Administration on Linux. In this video, we will be looking into two parts. First, we will be changing the default data directory for any new user database that is created. And the next part, we will be looking into changing the default backup directory for any new backup that is being taken. Okay, so first we will need to log in into the SQL Server using SQL CMD, which is in OPT MS SQL Tools Bins. So you'll have to give the default parameters that is minus s dot for local server, then user and password for SA, and then you'll be able to log into the SQL CMD. We will be using sys.master underscore files to check the default values of the files, and as you can see, the data in the log file belong to the var opt mssql data. Okay, we'll quit here and we'll create the required directories. So we'll use mkdir command. He'll be using minus p parameter, which will create the directories recursively, so we don't have to create it two times. So we'll fire the command mkdir minus p slash mssql slash data. Okay, and post this, we'll also change the ownership. Minus r we will use for recursively assigning the ownership to mssql user and mssql group. Okay, so after this, if you just see the ownership by using ls lrh slash mssql or slash, you will see the folder permissions for mssql, and for data it will be the mssql user, which is the prerequisite. Okay. Okay, so now we will use the MSSQL conf file to set the parameters of the default directory. So it's the parameter we have to use is file location dot default directory, and then give the default directory which we have created, that is mssql slash data. Post this, it will ask you to restart the service. We will use systemctl restart mssql service command to restart the service, and then we'll try to connect to the SQL Server using SQL CMD once again, and we'll try to see the default directories first what are present. For that, we will again use the sys.master files, and if you just fire go, you will see that as of now all the things remain the same. So old directories have not changed. However, if you create a new database, say new db, and then fire the command again, you will see that the new folders or the new files have been created under mssql data. Now there is another parameter which you can set to change the log default directory as well. Okay, so that will be file locations and default uh, log directory. Now to see where these configurations are being updated, you can go to var opt mssql conf. Here you will see the default data directory has been updated. So this is what overrides all the default properties that are being set in SQL Server for SQL Server on Linux. Okay, so next we will see how to update the default backup directory that is being used or being configured for SQL Server. So for that, first of all, let's try to take a backup of a database that we have just created. Okay, so let's connect to SQL CMD, and let's try to take a backup of any database, and we will see where the database backup file goes to. Okay, so we'll just fire the command select a name from sys databases just to see what are the databases that we have. So we have a lot of databases. We have two new databases created, so we'll just take a backup of the databases new db to disk, and we will give we'll give the name new db dot back, and we'll fire the command. Okay, so you'll see the backup has been processed. Okay, so we will try to see where the default backup directory or where the default backup has gone. So for that, we will fire the command ls minus lrh, and we will give the path that is var opt mssql data. Okay, so here you will see the new db dot backup, which is by default created. So now we'll fire the command to update the location. But before that, let's create the backup directory under the MSSQL slash MSSQL slash MSSQL folder. And after that, let's try to change the ownership of it, because as we see now it is under the ownership of root. So we'll have to change the ownership. So we'll fire the command chown mssql colon mssql, and then the directory path, that is slash mssql slash backup. Okay, so post this, if you see the listing again, so you will see both the backup and the data directory are now running on mssql. So now let's fire the command which will update the default backup location. So we will need to fire the command mssql conf set file location default backup directory slash mssql slash backup. Post this, it will ask us to restart the SQL Server service again. So we'll use systemctl restart mssql server. Okay, so once this comes up, let's try to check the SQL CMD, and let's try to log into SQL CMD, and let's fire a backup again. So backup database new DB to disk, and we will give again a new name, that is new DB underscore one dot back. Okay, underscore one dot back. Okay, and we'll fire the command. Okay, and we'll see the backup has been processed. So we'll quit and again go to the folder that we have created. We'll see the listing from there, ll slash backup, and now you see the new db underscore one dot back has been created in the new folder mssql backup. So this is how you can change the default backup directory. Okay, so post this, we can also see the MSSQL conf, which is under var opt MSSQL. So here you will see a new entry for the default backup directory that we have created under MSSQL backup.